Come on, go.
Welcome to today's fishing report.
That's your start?
You're the one drinking water, dude.
Water's healthy, man.
Okay, buddy.
Fish are in the water too. Okay, so we're a little off on our timing. Usually we release these reports on Tuesdays. By the time you get this, it's going to be Friday. Been a little bit busy around here, so sorry about that. These fishing reports take a ton of time to put together and make, so a little off right now, but basically, this is the end of June fishing report for 2025. Should we just dive right into the hot fish?
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna get into Brock's favorite fishing right away. Bass fishing is very good, okay? But let's clarify a little bit what good means. The last couple weeks, we've had multiple people contact us asking for, help with fishing or fishing questions, that sort of thing, and saying, hey, we're only catching a couple dozen bass a day, and some of your reports are saying people are catching hundreds. So, Brock, a good day of bass fishing to you is what? 50. Okay, Brock, you got a pretty high bar there. Dude, you're like spoiled or something living on Pelican Lake. I would say a pretty good day of bass fishing is 2 to 3 dozen bass, probably. Okay? A great to phenomenal day, yes, it does happen. You hear stories once in a while about someone boating 100 bass. I've probably done it a couple times here on Pelican. But it's not normal. So if you're going out there and fishing and you're only catching a couple dozen, or maybe a couple dozen decent ones, that's a pretty good day. Let's not, blow this out of proportion because you only caught 2 or 3 dozen fish, you and your buddy or whatever. All right, so remember, we're just here trying to help. But not every day is going to be a great day of fishing, even on Pelican. But we have a lot of bass pictures to show you. So let's start putting some of these pictures up here. Fishing's been pretty good. All right, so put them up here. We got Jimmy and Tom. Okay, so before we get into all the photos of the adults, let's talk about young people and catching bass. Because what is more exciting than seeing a young person catch a nice fish, especially if it might be their first fish? So let's take a look at a few of these. We've got Sadie, nice fish. Gunner and Henry.
What about Chase?
Chase. So Brock's little brother went out this week. He caught this pretty nice 19-inch largemouth bass. I was there with them, and it was awesome. Let me show you this little clip here of Chase. So happy, so ecstatic with his very first big bass caught all by himself.
All right! Yes!
Yeah.
High five!
I think that one's bigger than yours.
You think so? It might be.
Okay, so while we're talking about bass fishing, we actually have some pretty big news we want to talk about on here because there has been a recent change for bass fishing here in the state of Minnesota. All right, Brock, so tell us what the current regulations are for bass fishing for the season. When does it begin so far?
Well, it starts on May 10th.
Just this year because
Yeah.
fishing opener. Okay, fishing opener is 2 Saturdays prior to Memorial Day, the Saturday Memorial Day weekend. Okay, so it's always the second Saturday of May. Carry on, sorry, interrupted you.
With a limit of 6, including smallmouth and largemouth.
Okay, however, you can't harvest, most of the states don't allow you to harvest until Memorial Day weekend. But they allowed you to start fishing. It's called a catch and release season for bass fishing here in Minnesota. But that just changed. Okay, a friend of mine, Jimmy Bell, who was the president of the Student Angler Tournament Trail and one of the big organizers of getting that going here in Minnesota, and other people have been pushing to change the laws and regulations for bass fishing, saying that we have a large population of bass today in Minnesota. It's a big time deal, and most people do it catch and release only anyway, so why not make it a bigger season? Well, that law will be going into effect, it appears, next year. There will no longer be a season on bass fishing. There will be a harvest season and a catch and release season, but it will be year-round. So people like Brock who love to bass fish, and he can't fish until May, middle of May, basically.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. However, we still live on Pelican Lake. And when did your ice come off this year? May 5th. So it might not affect us here on Pelican Lake as much, but if you fish on a lake, southern Minnesota or central Minnesota, where the ice is coming off early, or you have a river access where you can bass fish, you will now be able to bass fish year round. So for me, as a guy who likes to bass fish, I think this is a big win. I'm excited to possibly do bass fishing, in the spring now. That's a pretty big deal. So, yeah, but if you're into bass fishing, I don't think there's a better lake than Pelican Lake to come and get, a large number of good-sized Pelican Lake bass. All right, Brock, so when I was out fishing last night with your little brother Chase, and he caught a nice bass. He was using a wacky rig, okay, Senko. I was catching fish. Let me show you a picture here of one with me, Texas rigged. What about you?
I like using those too as well. But the other day I was trying out more like creature baits and stuff, and they were working pretty good. I got a lot of hits.
Okay, what about chatterbait? You've been using that a bit too, haven't you?
I'd say it's working fairly good.
Okay, so bass fishing, it's good. As always, hard to miss up here. Hard to go wrong with bass fishing up here on Pelican Lake.
On to the next species, pike.
Yeah, that's my cue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Missed that cue, sorry. So, pike fishing. Okay, it's been not nearly as good in terms of overall numbers. We're actually seeing less of them being caught. We see some. Got a couple pictures here. I think we have one of Eli holding up a pike. I heard some stories. I believe someone at Island View caught one at 39 inches last week. Brett was telling me that. So we're seeing some starting off that picture, but not like we were earlier in the year. I think because the water temperature is warming up, we're just not seeing as many pike biting. So
Well, also, a lot of the pike that we do catch are just from walleye fishermen, which there's not as many coming up.
yeah, a lot less walleye fishermen these days. We got a picture here of someone catching walleye. Mark, he was staying over here this week. He caught a nice walleye, but not seeing them like we were before. The other species aren't doing nearly as well as the bass fishing. So whether it's the number of fishermen coming up here that's less has had a significant impact, or the warmer water, but whatever it is, we're seeing a lot less walleye and pike being caught. That is definitely slowing down right now.
But with the warmer water, what's not slowing down is the bluegills, because they like the sun.
Yeah, that's why we call them sunnies. So we got at least one photo here I know was sent in from Emmy. Nice bluegill got caught. So what do they catch them on, Brock?
Twister tails and just worms.
Okay. So bass fishing hot, bluegill fishing hot, but we got a different hot story that we've got to go over here. So earlier, I believe it was last week, we had a photo sent in from Aspen Resort. And Colin and Savannah, check this photo out right here, sent this in. Because not only did they catch some nice fish, but they got engaged here. Do you think it was while they were fishing?
I don't know.
I mean, it's kind of a funny situation. Think about it here for a moment, Brock. Okay, you're out there, you're catching big fish, and you decide to pop the question. She says no. Can you go home to your buddies and say, guys, she said no, but let me show you the fish we caught?
That's stupid, dude.
I'm saying, hey, you wait till you have to ask a girl to marry you. It's a nerve-wracking moment. You might want a backup plan to say, oh, it's okay, we can just keep fishing. And I'm going to tell you right now, Brock.
Okay, wait. You know what would be awkward? You have to sit in the boat for the next couple hours.
I guess so. But hey, let me give you some fatherly advice here, okay? I'm going to have to say, Colin here is a smart man. Okay? Choosing a spouse, or in this case, a future spouse, who will go fishing with you, definitely some serious... What would be a good slang? Would you guys say street cred? Is that what you guys say? No, I got that one wrong. I always get these terms wrong that Brock uses. Okay, so, but, choose a girl who's going to go fishing with you someday, Brock. That's my fatherly advice here. So, thanks to Aspen Resort for sharing this. When we get photos in, we thank everybody for sending pictures in. Thank you to the resorts who sent pictures this week. We are sponsored by the Pelican Lake Resort Association. So, please, stay at a resort.
Alright, watch this close out. See you guys next week.
Brock, we're going to be in the Boundary Waters next week. There's no video next week. Okay, so Brock and I are going fishing in the Boundary Waters next week. Be camping for the 4th of July week. We know Fish Report next week, but we do have a special video coming out next week. We've already filmed, got it ready. It was from fishing last week with Jake Panici, the new local guide. And we filmed our day of fishing, and we got it ready, so hope you like that. But while we're in the Boundary Waters, you guys keep fishing Pelican Lake. Tight lines. Walleye and the pike fishing is definitely slowing down. The water warming up, and like as Brock said, less people are fishing for them, so that's a factor here.
Oh, shoot. Try again. Okay, I'm ready this time. But you know what's not slowing down?
It's okay, just put it in now. Just put it in.
No, do it. One more time. I go